description.
Alright, hey, this is Osem, and time for another episode of Instant Noodle Recipe Time. This is the show where I show you what to do with your instant noodles, and today we've got something. We went down the magical aisle at our Fred Meyer's store the other day. It's a weird aisle because they have pet supplies all around that aisle, but then they also have the last chance section, and it's for stuff that's so on clearance that they're just gonna chuck it pretty soon. And I found this Osem Meals to Go. I could be pronouncing that right, but it looks like it says Osem Meals to Go spaghetti bolognese style meals on the go. This is made in Israel, so this is totally kosher, and I knew I put that little mark on the wrong side. Oh well. But this one takes a while. Generally, a noodle cup takes you spoon inside. So usually a noodle cup takes about 3 minutes. Did I put that line right there? I'm gonna go this direction. It's a foil lid. I see that lower line now. Okay. So it says, take out the spoon. I'm happy to do so. Our spoon. And here is what the uncooked spaghetti bolognese looks like. And we fill it to the lower inside line. So let's do that. This is going to be some soupy spaghetti is my guess. Ah, damn this pot. And we're going to do it for 8 minutes. Do we stir this? I'm just for good measure going to give it a little stir. If I can. I have a feeling this is going to be interesting. Okay, it's filled to the lower line. We're putting the lid back on, and we're going to give it, 8 minutes, which is a while. So, how's everybody doing? This is my actual, it's not like, oh, well, I'm only doing stuff until Thursday, so I'm calling Thursday my Friday. No, this is not just my Friday. This is everybody else's Friday as well, I guess. Ah, leaf blowing. I hear them outside with their leaf blowers blowing leaves. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the leaf blower. This is an interesting review I'm doing today. I've only done a few Israeli varieties. My brother gave me some. And since we have time, I'm going to tell you the story of how I met my brother. So a few years ago, there was the idea I was throwing around just as a joke that should get a DNA test because I enjoy reviewing instant noodles and I've done so many. I must be there must be some tiny little bit of my background or heritage that's Asian. There's gotta be some tiny little bit. Well, I can tell you for an absolute fact, no, that is not the case. I did an ancestry DNA test, and one thing that I kind of expected, which didn't end up being the case, I expected more German. Not so much. It's mostly, my background is British Isles. I think a little bit of Scandinavian, and that's about it, I think. I can't remember, but anyways, yeah. And also, it was able to tell that people that in my background from the test, which way they traveled to me being here. And I thought that was interesting because there was a lot of my background in Illinois. So, anyways, but what happened then was I got a message shortly thereafter from Ancestry saying, you have a positive from this guy with a funny name, and they're a very close match. I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe this thing is hooey. I really don't know. Well, that guy contacted me. He said, you should talk to my father. I'm like, oh? He's like, yeah, because from this, it's saying I'm your nephew. And my father was adopted, and he's been looking for his birth family for years. I'm like, really? Okay, here's my phone number. Tell him to give me a call. The guy was in New York, and so I get a phone call, and then I end up talking to this guy named Moshe. And he was, I thought, in New York, and he just starts laughing. No, I'm in Jerusalem. I'm like, really? Wow, that's cool. And yeah, so he was like, he's gonna do a test and wants to see what it says. But the numbers, they do it on centigens? I can't remember what the measurement amount for DNA is, but it said that it was a really good chance that he would be my brother. And he sent a picture. I showed it to my wife, and she was like, dude. I asked my mom and sister about it. My mom said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. No. And my sister was like, well, mom says no. I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, oh, this must be a scam. I'm like, no, I'm not getting that. I think there's something to this. Is this something you're not telling me? And eventually, my mother told my sister the truth. And the truth was, when my father and mother first got together, before they got married, she got pregnant, and it was 1955. And times were different then. It was like, oh, you're not married and you're going to have a kid. Oh, that's blasphemous and blah, blah, blah. There was a lot more not socially accepted. So, I mean, it's not a great thing. You should be married if you're going to have a kid. So the kid has anyways, I'm not going to get into that. But, yeah, so apparently when my father found out that my mother was pregnant, he flipped out and decided that she wasn't good enough for him, and he was like, you need to get rid of this kid and blah, 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 blah. And she ended up taking the bus to the hospital. This was back in Connecticut. Taking the bus to the hospital and having the child got adopted. Yeah, he wasn't there, and the child was adopted to a family of Holocaust survivors, and they lived in Connecticut. His adoptive father ran a bagel shop, bakery, which he's told me countless stories about. And then my mom, she fessed up to it eventually. That's how I know this story. And then a couple years later, we got to go meet him. And we met him just south of here. He flew over to meet us. And so he met me and my sister. And then a year later, before my mom died, she agreed to meet him. And that was like, wow, that was one of the heaviest things in the world. I was wow. She was like, no, it's not a big deal. I'm like, this is a really big deal. This guy's been wanting to actually meet his birth mother since he was 10. That's when they told him he was adopted. So that's a big deal. So, but that's my story. It's not like I had a half brother that I found. I found that there was like a big thing that was kept from any of us. It was just like this overwhelming secret. What's kind of crazy too is before I was born, they had my sister who's still alive, and then they had my other sister. They were only going to have 2 kids, and had one named Rachel who had horrible medical conditions, and she died when she was like 14. She was really young. So first, my mom has a kid, gets put up for adoption out of shame, and then they have another kid, and then they have another kid, and then one of them dies. It's just like, oh my god. And then they decided, well, we'll have this kid, and that's me. But oh wow, this really didn't do too bad. I was expecting this to be very soupy. It is somewhat soupy. But yeah, that's the story. And when I found out I had a brother, I also found out him and his wife had like 9 kids. And of those 9 kids, they all had like kids of their own, and I believe I'm a great uncle like 36 times. I've only met 2 of my brother's children. They were really nice guys. And I met his wife, but it's been a while, and I try to talk to him every Thursday. That's kind of our day to have a chat. But today, on Friday, I'm going to have some kosher spaghetti bolognese. Let's give this a try. Wow. I was really expecting something incredibly bland here, but this isn't bad. It doesn't have meat in it. It's like TVP, but there's like a meatiness to it. It tastes good. Wow. Look at all that. Strangely enough, I want to eat that. But yeah, look at that. $1.15 clearance. Look at the deal I got. Okay. Miraculously good deal. And a story. I mean, it took forever to hydrate, but it's like if you had to go, you already went. 8 minutes? Come on. But yeah, I wonder if they make any other ones. Now I'm curious. If they make other ones, I'll review those too, but I don't really know what I would add to this. I don't have any other stuff. I've got some scallion, but I don't know how great that would be. Oh, you know what I could have added, but it was bad by now. I had some mint from the reviews I've been doing recently, but that mint has definitely sailed. Bits and bits and bits and bits. Alright, there we go. I guess I could put some parm on it. I don't know if that would be allowed. It's a pretend meat. It's not meat. It's a meat and milk thing. There is that, but cool. Well, Jewish approved, or approved for kosher spaghetti bolognese. Well, cool. Thanks for watching. The next one you're going to see is this one from Nissen, Germany. This is Deme Ramen beef flavored. That'll be the next episode of Instant Noodle Recipe Time. This has been Hans the Ramen Reader wishing you enjoyment of your noodles each and every day. Have a good one. Bye-bye.